Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gulfstream. Today, another exciting week here at Gulfstream Park. The main track is fast. Turf course is firm. That's right. We are on the turf this afternoon. Of course, we got the all-weather Tapeta, Brian. You can see all three surfaces right there. And starting the week once again with a nice 8-race card on Wednesday.
Yeah, $800,000 in the gross guaranteed jackpot for the Rainbow Six. Had some exciting moments in the nightcap on Sunday. 3 live tickets for a sweep. Didn't work out, so we billed again, and it is getting close to $1 million, Ron.
Yeah, and one of those was the favorite, if I remember correctly. So $800,000 today in the Rainbow Six. Kicks off in race 3 this afternoon.
Yep.
So that's make sure you're there. You see it up there. Race 3 with the 8-race card this afternoon. And our first race today is going to be on the turf, which is always exciting. 5 furlongs. But, Brian, you put a ticket together. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, I put a couple of kind of expansive tickets together today, Ronnie. And here, I think these sequences could be nice. We've got the single in the first race. We'll get it right out of the way early. And then spreads in race 2 and in race 4. Pride and Passion, my long shot play of the day for a white-hot Marty Drexler in race 2. The play in race number 4, I think a horse you have some interest in, Juno C. is going. He'll be a square price. She will not be that big of a price. And then in the race number 5, 2-5 in that order, Rhymes Like Dimes. Antonio Sano, Jose Ortiz on the class drop.
Well, we'll see how that plays out. Very nice, $60. You got the logical horse in here. We did have a couple of scratches in here earlier today with the 2 Lakeshore Drive and the 3 One Tough Guy or something like that. One Tough Son of a Gun, which I like this afternoon, but well, that's for another day. So I scratch into Determined Fury. Did you have that one on top all
Yeah,
along?
and let's take a look at the replay too. I mean, they're even money here for right now for Imaginary Stables. But as we see the replay here, this horse is number 2. Okay, in front doing the dirty work, and I just want to give you the order of finish. It's 8-4-6-2. You don't see any of them really right now. There's the 4 threading through. He was even behind early on. Point being, Determined Fury on one of those dead rails that day. Down inside, didn't you didn't want to be down there. He ran big, and now he's outside in a tight field. He's probably the controlling speed anyway, and I just think he gets all the best of it here. Again, I'm not telling you something you didn't know, but I wanted to show this replay just to say how big he ran in a stalker closer's race to be just nipped out for 3rd at the line.
Of course, that race on the all-weather Tapeta, but going to
obviously.
turf, this horse has run well on the turf, and usually, though, we've been seeing that horses usually translate that form from the Tapeta to the turf. The number 7 horse in here, who I went in second, we almost have the same try here. Aeronaut is shifting to the turf and cutting back to 5/8, tracked the pace, finished second. That was back-to-back sprints against similar quality, going 6th on the main track for Frank Russo. Tyler Gaffalione quarterbacking the surface switch today.
Yeah, and this is a good post for him, too. He's outside Determined Fury, who we think is going to be the inside speed here. How much pressure does Aeronaut put on? That remains to be seen. Frank Russo, a high percentage trainer down from New Jersey, struggling to get to the winner's circle, but you see the horses are running well. 1 for 14, but he's been underneath 7 times.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the 4 Scotty Brown. Now, here's a horse I did not use until the 2 scratches in the race. Down in the Jane Sabelli barn, faced those, faces 2 lifetime today after facing those New York State bred allowance runners. But if you go back to December 2020, this horse was 2nd at this level and distance here. I didn't know what to do with this horse, but with those 2 scratches, I bumped it up. I see you have it more highly rated than I do.
Well, he's in the mix here. The issue is 1 for 16, 6 underneath finishes. The other issue is twofold, too. Seems to have lost his tactical speed in his last 2 starts. And Jane had this horse, for the majority of his career. The prior runs, as you alluded to, make him a threat in here. The last 2 are not, and I'm just not sure if he's a win candidate, especially in a tight field where the lack of pace might hurt him, too.
Well, let's go to race number 2 today. We're on a fast main track, 6 furlongs. These are claimers 4 and up. Non-winners of 2 races in life, 12-5 down to $10,000. Clean slate, not a lot of scratches. Most of the scratches were in race 1 today. I think we have 1 other, or maybe 2 other scratches on the whole card. And boy, I went with Where's Joey, who's going to the Ron Abrams one after the claim, going to the main track after breaking from the outside last time. That was post 11. Goes up, stalks the pace, and finishes 4th behind that next out winner called Loyal Louie, going 5.5 on the all-weather. The gelding broke its maiden on the main track. I got a stat on Ron Abrams. First after the claim on the dirt, 8 for 43, 19%, 44% in the money. 286 is the return of investment over the last 5 years. So not Ron Abrams is not a name you hear a lot down here. So I wanted to put a stat to show you that this guy does excellent work.
Yeah, absolutely. Now he's got to improve or keep the form off Steve Glaceris, and we know how good Steve is, doing this. But that was on the Tapeta, okay? Now we're on the dirt, and this horse has got solid back dirt form as well for Joe Taylor up at Belmont and then at Parks. But, yeah, you're right. Ron Abrams does do a good job, kind of an under-the-radar kind of trainer, but he comes out of a live race here, and I think if he can maintain the form of Where's Joey, it definitely makes him a big, big threat in here.
Looking at the early doubles very early in the double prices, I can see that your number 6 horse in here, Pride and Passion, taking a little money with Luis Saez in the saddle.
Well, he's the unknown. I get that, but he's certainly bred for this. He's by Tamar Cruz out of Medaglia d'Oro mare. Now, he hasn't tried the main track, but Marty Drexler, brings him down. He didn't really fire on the Tapeta. He claimed him from Mike DePaula back in November. Marty's caught fire of late.
Yeah.
He started out a little bit slow. I think his Woodbine horses need to get acclimated to the Tapeta. Now, this one, as I mentioned, it's never tried the main track. I get it, but, okay, we go for a hot trainer here. We're bred for it. We get Luis Saez as well. The other thing, Ronnie, you look at this field, there is so much speed in here. And Pride and Passion is one of the few horses that have shown an ability to pass horses in the lane. To me, that's the type of trip he's going to pull in here today with a hot and contested pace. Let's take a shot at him at a nice number.
Number 3, American Matter, is going to change barns, going to the Bob Hess Jr. barn after that claim. Makes his first start since finishing that stalk and fade 4th against 20 claimers. It was a while back. It was here last March. Angel Aurora rides this sort of a shaky drop-down proposition.
Yeah, I agree totally. And we know how good Bob does, but he is 0 for 8 off this elongated layoff. And then you look at the works here. I get the 1230 work was very, very snappy. The rest of them, to me, don't really add up. And this horse could have been in under the waiver, right? And now pops back for 12.5 off the 20 claim. I don't know what to make of him. I don't have a problem if you're going to use him in your early pick 5. I did because it's a spread race for me. But I'd tread very, very lightly at taking a short number on this horse.
Well, the horse I had a little interest in here is the number 4, Awesome Pudding. Drops, goes back to the main track. Returned from the layup, went up, stalked the pace. That's part of the speed that you were alluding to, and faded against those non-winners of 2. Going 5.5 on the all-weather. Ralph Nix. He's got his go-to jock, Tyler Gaffleone, handling the surface change this afternoon.
Obviously it's gone the wrong way for Awesome Pudding since he started out. I get all that, but Ralph brought him back for 20. Now he's back for 12.5. I think this is the level he's supposed to be at. The other thing I like too, Ronnie, he kept his speed off the long layoff and the drop. So that's a positive to me. Now he's really with probably the level he should be at. I would think you're going to get the best that Awesome Pudding at least can do.
Well, we're going to take a short break.
That's right.
When we come back, we'll have my Rainbow 6 ticket.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Round off first inside. Race. A quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 yards out. Last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back. Gulfstream today. Ron and Brian, I think his name is Brian. Yeah, third race this afternoon. 1 mile claimer, 4 and up, 12,500. As we mentioned at the top, not a lot of scratches, so a clean slate. Put a ticket together, 43.20 for me. I had one last week, Brian, and a couple of close 5 out of 6s. So maybe today I can get back on the winning streak. Got some nice coverage in race 3. We'll talk about that race. My long shot today comes in race number 4. It's Juno C. Beautifully bred for the turf. It's a daughter of midshipman. But I also use our girl Girls Worth It, I think, is going to take the money in there. And then Magniloquent for Wesley Ward this afternoon. Race 5, 3 deep in there with Russian to Win, Hey Porter, and the 3 Frolic Man. Race number 6 today. Everybody in the world, I think, might single Free to Fly, but I'm going to also use Larimar and their Free to Fly. Just what a campaign last year, won 10 of 14 races. Unbelievable that you don't see that very often. Best bet comes in race number 7. It's My Philly Twirl. We got a video, also got a stat we're going to show you, Julian Leperoux in the saddle. But I used On Alert also. And in the nightcap, wanted to go a little deeper here, but didn't pull the trigger, didn't want to make it $84. So I just used La Russia and Bell's Kingdom in the nightcap. But there, if you got some extra coin, maybe you stretch it out a little bit. I think that's a pretty full race, and you got to use a bunch if you possibly can. So getting back to race number 3, interested to see who you put on top. I did go with the 1 Financial System. You went with the 3. Let's start there with Town Classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's Delgado, it's Tyler. We get back to the main track off a 2-turn to Peter run, and he just didn't like it. I mean, he was involved early. My notes say he was a pace casualty. It fell apart that day. You go back now to the 1-turn dirt forms, and I get they were with Safi. I get they were with Diodoro. Those are high-percentage barns, but you know what? Gustavo Delgado is that too, and now he's going to run on the main track for the first time for this barn. Tyler sticks around off the no-show last time. I think there's plenty to like here.
The number 1 Financial System, we got our exacta flip-flop in here. Goes to the Jorge Delgado barn after the claim, stretches out to the 1-turn mile. After vying for the lead and weakening to finish 3rd, that was against similar quality. Going 6.5, it was that sealed sloppy track that day. The barn, we know this, 32% with new claims, almost about 20% with horses stretching out in distance. Hall of Famer Javier Castellano handling the stretch out today. Add all it up. That up looks like a major play in here that I think you got to use on your Rainbow Six ticket.
Clearly the horse to beat. Roddy Valente claims this one with Delgado. It's kind of a new partnership. As you mentioned, 32%. Roddy's as sharp as they can with these kind of claims. And now getting back to a fast main track, I think moves this horse way up too.
And tell me about the number 5, Lusitano.
Well, we're outside a little bit with Crichton and Saez, and those guys are 35% down here together. The barn has just been really, really good of late. And I think this one can, with a better flow today, you know, Reserve Not Attained has been so good, and he kind of got caught in his wake a little bit in his last 2 starts. I think being outside, maybe with some inside speed, he's okay.
The number 4, Mr. Tito's, goes to the Jose Garofalo barn after the claim and steps up the competition. You look at the last race, track the pace, finished 3rd against 8 claimers going a mile. The gelding is 7 for 8 in the money at this distance, has Julian Leperoux at the controls. If you're not enamored for the win, here's a horse if you're betting the Triumph Supra. Just with that in the money record at the distance, you got to use this horse somewhere, I would think.
I think that's the key to me. I'm not sure which way he's going, Ron, but he does always fire, and he'll get a piece of this. Tough to improve off Safi and Frank Calabrese.
And we'll turn the page, and we will go to race number 4. This one is 5 furlongs on the firm turf course. Maiden optional claiming fillies, 3-year-olds. We did have a scratch in here of the number 12, so please note the number 13, trained by Todd Pletcher, is going to get in, of course, take a lot of money this afternoon. Did we get the jockey change yet?
No, we don't have it yet.
Well, there'll be a jockey change on the 9, so we'll let you know who that is. We didn't get it yet, but Pete will be on right after us, and he will have all that information for you. So let's see your late pick 5 ticket.
We land on the same horse here, Ronnie. Somehow, some way. Here's a deep spread. I have 0 conviction. 2-5 in race 5, rhymes and dimes I mentioned earlier. Here's a single, Free to Fly. I'm with you, Ronnie. I do think this is the single. A little bit of a spread in the last 2 races. Number 7, My Philly Twirl. I know you like. That's my top pick there as well, and we'll show a replay and a stat there. And then in the finale, I go outside. We got a replay coming up of Coach C as well at a little bit of a price, I think, because I think there's going to be some horses that get bet pretty hard in that spot.
Well, excuse me, Brian. The number 1, Juno C, 20-1 on the morning line. I don't think we're going to be getting that this afternoon. Beautifully bred for the turf. That was one of my reasons. The daughter of midshipman, who I like on the grass. grass. Faces 50 maiden optional claimers on the grass. Failed to really get on track in its maiden special weight debut on the all-weather. I just thought, watching the race, the horse didn't like the surface. It's Brian Lynch. He adds blinkers, which is key for me, and taps Julian Leperoux to ride. Just a horse that I just, when you're handicapping a race like this, I just kept going back to. Is he going to be the favorite? I don't think so, but I think he's going to take some interest in here.
Oh, yeah. Brian's 32%.
Or she is, excuse me.
32% turf sprints overall.
Oh, you picked it too. I didn't realize
yeah,
that.
I did pick this horse. Comedic was, I believe, odds on for Michael Tabor and Simon Callahan, I believe, last race, and she's all right. And you just said it all, Ron. I mean, it's a tough trip, tough way to run last time, sprinting, and now we get back to the turf. The blinkers go on. I'm thinking this horse is 5-6 to 1 in here, and I think she's got a big shot with that behind her.
The number 9, Magniloquent, is making her first start since prompting the pace and tiring to finish third at this level of distance on the turf back in December. Before you talk about it, Brian, I'll show you that stat I found on Wesley Ward. Layoff of 61 to 180 days sprints on the turf right here at Gulfstream. I wasn't that enamored with it, but I wanted to show it. 5 for 25, 20%. 52% in the money, 133 is the return of investments. Another reason why I went looking for someone else on the ticket and put Juno C on top.
Totally agree. It's another reason why I spread and why I did the same thing. Because, yeah, you respect Maliquint. You said that name much better than me.
Magniloquent.
Okay, there we go. Magniloquent. Thank you. Good work there. But, why does she have to win? She doesn't at all, and she's had her chances. And don't forget, this is arguably the most prolific early season 2-year-old barn, I don't know, maybe ever. I don't know. And she doesn't run an inch on debut at Keeneland, and then she doesn't really do any running on the turf there either. So, listen, tread very, very lightly with her here.
The number 3, Our Girl's Worth It, is debuting on the turf after responding. And here's the key. In the first race after the claim by Eddie Plessis Jr., you go back, Eddie does not claim a lot of horses. Would have set the pace, second against this level of competition, going 5 on the all-weather. Paco Lopez in the saddle today. There's the one on paper I thought was the one to beat.
Yeah, and probably the one to catch, too, right? With Paco down inside, and he rode her that way last time, and now we get to a snappier, quicker surface on the turf, and I would think she's you're going to hear her feet rattle a little bit, and she's a major player in here.
And what about the number 6 horse I did not use, and that is Devilly in here?
I mean, solid form. It's Maker, it's Saez. She's second off the claim now. She's going to run on turf. She's tactical. She fits. And as you alluded to at the start, but let's just mention it again, if you're getting involved in the Rainbow or the late 5, always a party draws in for Pletcher and Irad all the way on the outside on the maiden special weight job. She's a player, too.
Yeah, you said the 2 key words there, Pletcher and Irad. So certainly. Race number 5 this afternoon, the 6 furlong sprint. Claimers 3 and up, 20 down to $16,000. I'll kick it off here with the number 4 horse, and that's Russian to Win, who goes to the Ronaldo Yanez barn after the claim, chased the pace, finished third at this level of distance. Look at this barn. Not that familiar with it. 3 for 4 in the money at the meeting thus far. Tyler Gaffleone atop this new acquisition. I always like to see that, where we get a new face and their horses run exceptionally well.
Yeah, and listen, I agree with what you're saying. I just didn't know what to make of it. And are we going to be able to improve off Eddie Plessis Jr., who's having a just phenomenal meet, and he's been doing it for years and years and years. But Russian to Win, if he can back that race up, you could make a case he's the horse to beat in here. The question is, where did it come from? It's just so much better than anything he's ever done. But you alluded to it. I mean, it was a huge effort, and the winner came right back to win and do it right.
What about the horse you have on top, number 2, Rhymes Like Dimes, Jose Ortiz, for Mr. Antonio Sano?
Well, I think, you said Jose Ortiz, and that's just so significant. It's no disrespect to Lionel Reyes, but it's a huge jock change, and Antonio's not a guy that, goes out and does this a lot. The other thing is it's a class drop. It's a Tapeta to the main track. It's 2 turns to 1 turn. And this horse now is going to run on the main track for the first time with Lasix. And he faced Cyber Viking last time, who we know is in this kind of spot. Cyber Viking's heck to pay. So I think Rhymes Like Dimes can move up in a big way here.
The number 5, Hey Porter, is dropping into the claiming ranks for the first time. Faced tougher on the Tapeta and dirt. Sort of limited its success since breaking his maiden for $50,000 last July. You got to respect Jorge Delgado. 25% with horses going from a route to a sprint. Big drop. What do we see here?
Jorge and Chantel Sutherland, 25% together. And the last time this horse ran on the main track was with my prankster. He comes back to win the Swale. Little Vic was at Tampa in a Derby prep the other day. Those two horses would be 1 to 1,000 in here. He was someone had to be third, but he was third. And this is another seismic class drop for this horse as well.
The number 3, Frolic Man, is dropping to the 20 claiming level after stepping off the claim by the 1, the only Dan Hertak, and finishing that slow starting 5th against 35 starter optional claimers, going 3/4 of a mile. Going to put some speed into this horse with Paco Lopez, who'll get him interested early.
And he's riding the wave to the winner's circle of late, huh? He's been in very, very good form. And this horse didn't run terribly off the claim because he was in a spot that was a lot tougher than this. And he's back with his friends in here, and don't be surprised if he makes a little dent.
Well, let's go to race number 6 this afternoon. 6 furlongs, starter allowance, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, starting for $16,000 or less. Once again, no scratches or jockey changes. And Brian single, and I, like I said, a lot of people singled. You just read what this horse has done. Yeah. Back locally after a stellar 2021 campaign, she won 10 of 14 races. The hard-knocking mare is 6 for 14 locally, 8 for 10 at the distance, and reunited with Paco Lopez, who was aboard for 9 of her 10 victories last year. I don't think I've ever said that.
How cool is this horse? And I mean, this is we have to love these horses. These are the day in, day out horses that make our game so special. 10 wins last year. That's more than probably 70% of the horses even start, let alone win. And the other thing is, too, as you mentioned with Paco, but she's the controlling speed in here to me, I think. And Paco will put her in the race. And then the other thing as well, I mean, Kathleen brings her back against better. I mean, she's running for 8 starters, and now she's in for a 16 starter. And Kathleen O'Connell's just been doing everything right at the meet. The layoff doesn't bother me. It's just time to gear up for another campaign. And you just, a horse you really like to root for.
I think the number 7, Larimar, is going back to her best surface after returning from the freshening to finish that stalk to pace 4th behind a group of hard-knocking $20,000 starter allowance runners going 5 on the Tapeta. You just look at horses that ran in that last race. Those are some hard-knocking campaigners.
Well, without a doubt, you could make an argument that Larimar's the horse to beat in here. I mean, you look at the race 2 back against 20 starters at Churchill. She fires an 87 buyer. I mean, that's going to win. As good as Free to Fly is, that's going to win this race. Can she get back to it? Well, I don't know, but the race 3 back was very good as well behind Flat Awesome Jenny, who I think was in the midst of winning 6 in a row at that point. So Larimar back, as I agree with you, on the right surface. To me, she's right there with Free to Fly. The question for Larimar is, does anybody go with Free to Fly early?
What about the 5, Dem a Wonder, win it at this distance a couple of starts back?
Well, I don't think she's as good as Larimar or Free to Fly, but she might get the right trip, too, because Larimar, you know, if maybe Tyler says, hey, I better press Free to Fly early because she's clearly the one to beat and I don't want her to get too far away early, maybe Dem a Wonder falls into the right kind of garden stalking trip for Rohan Crichton. We mentioned him already, and here's Irad. They're 25% together as well.
Yeah, there's daughter of Hello Broadway. So, you know, you Free to Fly going to jump off the page, but I've made a couple of good cases for Larimar and Dem a Wonder to run okay in that spot. Race number 7 this afternoon, 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. These are allowance runners, allowance optional claimers, fillies, 3-year-olds. The optional tag, $75,000. Feature race today. Did have a scratch in here of the number 5, Dixie B. And I had my best bet today, and we're going to show you a video in just a second, who said my filly twirled at number 7, stepping up, stretching out, used their speed in a heady ride by Julian Leperoux to break her maiden.
So let's take a look at it, because she did use her speed, and she had to use it. You know, here she is. So the point being here, and she's going to win this race, and she's getting nagged on the engine here by a 50-1. I understand they went slow early. I get all that, but it's not ideal, okay, to have a long shot nipping at your heels the entire way around. And Julian, you and I have talked about this so many times. I just love the job Julian Leperoux does when he's on the lead, when he can control things. He gets, you know, he gets the closer's kind of mentality for, you know, people think that of him. You put him on the engine and he'll dole it out as good as anybody in the jocks room. He did it here. She's streaking under the line, Ronnie, and I don't think she needs to lead at all. And I think today she's perfectly drawn outside of what could be potential inside speed. And I think my filly Twirl, regardless if she's on the engine or if she's just off it, I love her right back. I know she's facing winners. Big tactical edge on the 4 on Alert, too.
Trained by Brendan Wall,
Yeah.
so we got a stat, but with my filly Twirl, the maiden winner last time out on the turf. Really good. 13 for 49, 27%, 49% of the money. 207 is the return of investment. So lots to like here with my filly Twirl. I think 2-1 on the morning line, so you're not going to get a price. And this one I thought more of singling than actually the horse in the last race. So we'll see how it plays out. I went with the 4, and so did you do on Alert in second, who's another stretching out after rallying between horses to break her maiden. That was going 7.5 on the grass for Shug McGahee. Javier Castellano returning on this. This is a $500,000 daughter of Medaglioro.
Well, I mean, Shug got her going the right way last time off the kind of the tightener on debut. She added Lasix as well. And, you think of Shug, he's a progression kind of guy, and you got it last time. And I would think she moves forward for Don Adam, Cortland Farm here, and she's a major, major talent. And I think she will fire a big shot. To me, she's clearly the main danger to my filly Twirl.
You know, the number 6, Kitten's Collusion, is the daughter of Kitten's Joy, so we know this one is bred up and down for the turf. Returning to the turf, first start rallying to break her maiden. That was on the Presque Isle synthetic surface up there in Pennsylvania. Graham Motion, Louis Sayers named her right. Graham's horses. He hasn't started many horses here. They've all run exceptionally well.
Very, very live. And she has a look of the horse that ran second in our grade 3 that I liked a little bit, Amba 2. So she's a little slow on paper. That's fine. But Graham, another guy that's going to get the best out of him as they move forward. It wouldn't shock me at all. Kitten's Collusion back on the green stuff here. She has another move forward today as well. She's going to need it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go to race number 8 this afternoon, about 1.70 miles on the all-weather to Peter. Claimers, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2 in life, 12.5 down to $10,000. Clean slate, no scratches, no jockey changes in this race. And let's go. Is that who you have the video of?
Yeah, you want to take a look at it?
Yeah, let's take a look at the
All
video.
right. So here's the video of Coach C. She's all the way on the outside today, but here she is last time, and she is the 9 horse, excuse me. She's wide on both turns. She gets floated here, and she had trouble tucking in a little bit. And there she's a little rank, too, because the outside horse comes over on her. It just wasn't working for her that day. And then we go forward again to the far turn. Same kind of thing. She just never really was able to tuck in. And she just lost so much ground in this trip. Here she is still 3-4 deep, and she's going to get floated even wider. And she kind of battled on. I thought it was for the kind of, kind of horse she is, I thought she ran okay. She battled on. She was 4th. She wasn't threatening. I get all of that. But this isn't the most ideal trip for a 12.5 claimer. They don't have the gears that these top horses do. And she fought on pretty nicely. So I think today, now we go again. Lionel Reyes to Irad. He's going to have to negotiate a trip from out there again today, but that's why he's arguably, one of the best, if not the best jockey in the country. I think he can do it. You'll get a little value here. Antonio reaches out for him, to me, says, hey, we're live today. Take note of Coach C. Don't sleep on her.
I did go with the number 4, La Russie. You make great points with that horse, by the way. Was solid in defeat when she returned from the layoff. Finished at, I thought, a well-meant second in front of her next out winner called Perfect Kimberly S. at this level and distance. 4, Victor Barboza Jr., Luis Saez in the saddle again. Adds up to a major player. I mean, you got this horse in second. Figures logical for me.
Yeah, without a doubt. I could have showed a replay of this race, too, because my note says she got used up chasing the pace, but she still held very nicely to be second in what was kind of a stalker's type of race. And I agree. You've got ace connections here. Big, big chance, and clearly the one to beat.
The number 5, Bell Kingdom, is turning back to 1.70 miles after shaking off traffic on the turn. Wasn't that much traffic, but still had a little bit of a trouble trip. Finished second at this level of competition, going 9 on the all-weather to Peter. I thought with a clean trip, this horse might be able to grab a share.
Yeah, I might have missed her a little bit because you're right. She did have some trouble last time, and she still ran on. Now the 28-1 is gone, but people will get scared off by that, and you'll still get a square price today.
Yeah, and one other horse I wanted to touch on is the number 1, Eagle Eye. I was hoping to get away from the in a timely fashion. So I'm going to break from the rail again after breaking slowly. Breaking up from the rail this time out, breaking slowly, rushing up to stalk the pace, fading from her earlier efforts to finish 5th against Familia, going 9, Safi, Prentice, Megan Pellier, named to ride.
Yeah, we'll talk about her in a second, but drops 9 pounds off that last race. And went a mile and an eighth last time, so there's a lot of foundation to work with here, too.
So an interesting way to end the day with a full field of 10, but we are not done yet. We've got our lightning round, and like to do each and every start of the week is just update you on the jockey and trainer standings. So let's take a look at the jockeys, and I know that Louis Isaias is on top, but boy, second, third, fourth, and fifth, they're very close.
We've got a little battle developing for the podium, though. Tyler and Paco are going to duke it out for second, and Junior's a good hot week away from being right there as well. And of course, now with Irad back and riding full time, he'll probably pop up there too soon. But yeah, the gauntlet's been thrown down, and it's just named the score time for Luis.
Let's take a look at the trainers. This is a little closer for sure. Safi's still on top of 37, but Mr. Todd Pletcher, perennial leading trainer here, sitting back there just 5 behind with 32.
Yeah, Safi's obviously got the numbers, and he's in pretty much every kind of class, whereas Todd is doing more with less, but it's exciting. And Mark Cassie has really caught fire. I'd say it's probably been about an extended month now for Mark that the barn is really, really going good guns.
Yeah, you make a great point. Safi probably has, who knows, 1 million same person. Todd might have 4 million because just, he's in more of the stakes races and all, winning more of the stakes races. As we just alluded to in race number 8 today, we got an apprentice, Megan Pellier, daughter of French ace Oliver Pellier. They're going to be in race take today. Very cute-looking girl there. Very nice. She's going to ride great today.
Yeah, I mean, her dad obviously, rode Goldakova to so much success in the Breeders' Cup Mile, so it's cool to see her over here working. And as I believe kind of Acacia schooled us on it, that they come over here, they get their apprenticeship, and then they go back and become an apprentice over in Europe. And I guess that's the game plan. She's riding horses up at Palm Meadows, I believe, and it's going to be it's a great, it's a thrill to see her down here and seeing her, working on her trade.
Yeah, and that's a great Acacia pointed out. They come here to get some experience, and they still get that wake break when they go back to France. And we'll see how she rides today. I've heard through the rumor mill that she's been riding for, exercising for Todd Pletcher and looking very good on the horse. So good luck to her this afternoon. And this Saturday, it is Sprint Fest, the Winter Sprint Fest at Laurel Saturday. There you see it right up there. We, of course, the General George and the Barbara Fritchie, but I believe 6 races on the card that day.
Yeah, exciting.
6 stakes races.
Yeah, 2 of them grade 3s, $250,000, I believe, for each for the Fritchie and the General George. And we've seen some really good, serious horses. Roddy Valenti just walked by. Bustin' Stones won the General George way back when. So you're going to see some good, top-notch Mid-Atlantic East Coast sprinters up there.
Been watching horses work and getting ready for Saturday's the Gulfstream Park Sprint Grade 3 event, and one of those horses drained the clock. So we caught a work of his 2 starts back on December 6th, just getting ready. It's going to be an incredible race. Got some really nice horses planning on running in this race on Saturday.
Well, we expect to see Diamond Oops as well, right? The multiple graded stakes winner and drain the clock with his comeback early in the championship meet for Safi when I believe 108.69, I believe.
Fast.
He drains the clock. It's exactly what he does. So I know Safi, he was a grade 1 winner at 3. He beat Jackie's Warrior at 3. And I'm sure Safi's got big plans for him. And that's going to start on Saturday on what, Safi and we all hope is the start of a big campaign for him.
Getting ready for race number 1. We got about 67,000 already in the pick 5 pool. We're going to turn it over to Mr. Pete Aiello with the scratches and jockey changes, and then come back. And, of course, we'll be joined throughout the afternoon by the one and only Acacia Courtney. Good luck, everybody.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream. It was like this big fairy tale place.
We back.
Northern Dancer, winner of the Florida Derby.
Yeah.
All the history, all these great horses, trainers, jockeys.
It is Barbaro to the final furlong. He is a neck in front. Barbaro wins!
It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
Sunday silence surges to the front.
First day, opening day of the championship meet, I was kind of starstruck. You're watching LeBron James, and then next thing you know, you're playing basketball against him. That's how I felt when I'm riding with Donnie V, riding with Irad, Luis.
So many famous people come, Post Malone, Pharrell, J-Lo was there. It's epic.
The weather is beautiful. The facility is phenomenal.
It's all about Nick's Go. Nick's Go makes it 4 in a row.
It's one of the most beautiful tracks in the country, surrounded by some of the greatest horses and riders. It's amazing.
I'd always had a really deep love of animals. When I started riding, I felt that instant connection. It was this horse, Siren, that she was a thoroughbred, she'd been on the racetrack. It really shaped me growing up because I had to learn how to be confident, but I also had to be compassionate. And she really was that first love I had of a horse.